What's up, guys? ZFarls here today with some big news in the Madden community. That's right, it's time. Let's check it out. What's new in Madden 18? This is a gameplay trailer over on twitter.com/EA Madden NFL. Look, don't watch it here on my stupid video. Go over there, click on it, watch it. I know it doesn't have audio. That's Khalil Mack. What's new? Now, it covers what's new in the game. Target passing. You see it right here. Look, seriously, go over there and watch it. But what I am going to break down today for you guys, and if you've already seen it, go watch it again. But if you don't, instead of the last 40 seconds, could you fill out the survey that I have in the comments instead of watching it during those next 40 seconds? I'll wait. Just kidding. All right, let's jump into the blogs that go along with this. So the trailer, sick, but us hardcore community guys, what do we want? More deets. And that's what these blogs give you. So first up was target passing. We just saw a quick look at it in the trailer. And look, I'm going to break out my 7th grade reading skills that I've got and podcast you guys what these articles say, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. So NFL quarterbacks like Tom Brady have an uncanny ability to throw with precision. The target passing feature gives users the same ability with an advanced mechanic that simulates that control with a graphical target. Users can finally see their intended passing target while placing it anywhere on the field. Okay. The control scheme is intuitive, providing a straightforward way for users to place the ball in the most advantageous place. The better players are at utilizing the target passing mechanic, the more efficient and tactical they will become at picking apart coverage. The ability to visualize the placement of the ball exactly where you want offers another level of user control. So, what is target passing? Well, the breakdown is you can see exactly where the ball is going to go before the throw. You can lead shallow routes upfield before reaching the sideline. Maybe that's one place to try it. You can place the ball between zones, making your receiver kind of slow down his momentum. You can lead the ball to where only your receiver can get it, and you can throw timing routes before the cut, even while being pressed. I like that. Comeback routes, used to throw them like that all the time. Maybe that's a place to try it. So how does it work? So because you see it in the trailer, it was quick, but how do you actually use this in the game? You select your receiver. So before the snap, pre-play, you activate the coach cam, and then you press the button of the receiver to make him the primary receiver. You then, after the snap, hold down L2, and your target will come up, the guy that you just selected. Move the target with the left stick. Seems pretty natural. As your target changes, the quarterback will turn. You can switch the targeted receiver if you want, and then you have to throw to the receiver once you've placed it where you want with the left stick. So press the button of the receiver icon that is displayed. Use the same throw mechanics for lob, touch, and bullet. You can do neutral target passing, and then you can turn off target passing. So I would say one big note about this, and they've put it in the blog here, great work. Now the target passing is on L trigger or L2. Low pass controls have changed. Remember, low pass last year in Madden 17 was L2. So now you hold LB or L1 to activate the high-low throw modifier, and you push the left stick up or down. So L1 left stick up is a high pass, L1 left stick down is a low pass. So that's something you might run into if you go and try and playmaker. Old playmaker was left trigger and right stick. Maybe you go into target passing instead. So you have to kind of figure out how you're going to use this. Are you going to use it every play? Are you going to use it on certain timing routes? Are you going to use it against certain coverages or against on certain routes in certain areas of the field? Those are the real questions about target passing, but you saw a little bit of it in the trailer, but really a control scheme here where you'll be able to put the ball where you want, and really efficiency in how, I don't want to say tactical because they already said tactical, but the skill that is required to master it seems very vast. Okay, the next blog, what? And another part of the trailer, wide receiver DB interaction, which we showed a little bit. They showed a little bit of here in the trailer. Boom, wide receiver DB interaction. So Madden NFL 18 brings a unique metagame to the gridiron with new wide receiver DB mechanics tailored for MUT squads, but available for use in all game modes. The battle that happens between wide receivers and DBs will have a big impact on the passing game. So, what does that mean? So, two things. Number one, if you go back to EA Play and you look at Rex's Twitter where he tweeted the sheet of kind of how wide receiver DB, the buttons in MUT squads worked, that was kind of the first thing that showed it. But these are some other things it appears you can do. The highlight coverage indicator is an on-field assignment that tells your user-controlled player about his assignment in pass coverage based on the play called. When applicable, you'll see lines linking your player to the receiver he should be leveraging in his zone or in man, as well as a recommended path arrow showing you where he should be moving to properly leverage his targets. This tool is critical in learning all the right reads in pass coverage and can easily be toggled on and off. So obviously us hardcore guys, we may toggle that off, but if you're new and you want to become better, knowing where to go with your user, first of all, playing user defense where you clicked on to somebody is going to make you a much better player overall, but I know it's scary to do because you don't know if you're going to hurt your team, or you don't know who to cover, you don't know where to go, or you're in a zone but then you run and cover a man and you get distracted. This highlight coverage will help you with that, so I really recommend you try that on because that will make you a much, much better player. Press mechanics. This is what was the EA Play thing. When controlling a defender in coverage who is in range to press the receiver, there's a whole set of interactions available by using the right stick. The defender can press left or right on the stick to funnel the receiver to either side when in man or zone coverage. Also when in man coverage, there are two additional presses available. You can be more aggressive and go for a jam straight down the middle of the receiver, or when playing off by about 3 to 4 yards, you can also press up on the right stick to lock up on your receiver and follow him up the field. The interactions triggered will be completely contextual based on the coverage called from the playbook menu. So you'll see checks in zone and presses in man. When using the press mechanics, there's a risk-reward to the decisions you make, so be careful when you decide what you want to take away when pressing, and use your teammates' help to your advantage. The animation variety will be decided by the strength rating matchup between the two players. That's something that is very important. Very important note right here that I think we'll probably talk about all season long, but this is kind of like the original blog where we first get this info. While the win-loss result is the matchup between press versus beat press, which is release. So there you go. Animation variety, strength, win-loss is press, beat press. And for the first time, you can manually press a tight end. Boom. Remember, tight ends, they get those corner routes, they get those free releases a lot of the time, which makes them such reliable, consistent targets for newer players that they throw to the tight end all the time. That's why so many people throw to the tight ends. You can now even take those away better at the snap instead of just having to user them underneath or drop a purple and get the pick on PA. PA, third down, they call PA scissors. They throw a tight end to the corner, and you pick it. Now you just press the guy, take him out. Contextual auto chucks, another big game changer for defensive coverage, is the new auto interactions. When a receiver and a defender run into each other during a route, you'll see appropriate two-player animations that take into account the assignments of both players as well as their awareness ratings. In some cases, this can throw off the timing of your routes just long enough to get the pass rush home, or even take one of the players completely out of the play. Wide receiver release mechanics. On offense, for every press a defender can execute, the receiver will have a counter mechanic to either avoid being pressed or counter out of a press once in an interaction. Remember, squads, you're going to be controlling a receiver more than you ever have. When controlling a receiver and anticipating a press or chuck from the defender over the top of you, there are 4 different techniques available to avoid the press. And once again, you can go back, check out this sheet on Rex's Twitter where it actually had the controls from EA Play. And they could be updated, could be changed, but that was a good kind of initial guideline, I feel, that will get there, in my opinion. First is the Just Go release on RT, which will give your player a sprinter start but is extra susceptible to the jam mechanic. You'll want to be smart about using this as it carries a heavy risk of getting locked up by a pressing DB in the wrong situation. It should be used primarily if you think they're playing off coverage and not going to press. The most useful counter against the press are the modified releases. Those are conservative change-up release on the AX button and the aggressive foot-fire release on the X square button. These can be steered to either the right or the left with the left stick to try and evade the defender. You want to get a feel for the defender's tendencies and coverages so you'll know which one is most likely to get your player open to the side of your route. Lastly, there's the standard release, which is simply steering off the ball with the left stick. This release will most definitely get your receiver jammed at the line, so you'll only want to use this when you see the defender playing off coverage. It's the slowest, most controlled release off the line. So these are the two, the conservative change-up release and the aggressive foot-fire release. Those are some things you will want to test out in steering, try and get your guy based on the route. The metagame between the wide receiver and the DB lies in the direction each player chooses. So direction is very important, as well as a heavy influence by the ratings. If the receiver wants to release to the inside, but the defender is pressing inside, the defender will have a much higher chance to win that and prevent the receiver from getting to his route on time. You'll also see different outcomes from elite players that are not available for players who aren't rated as high. That is cool. Here's a table that shows the base results for each action relative to a DB pressing versus wide receiver releases. So this is kind of that chart that we talked about with the controls and then some of the things. So what I think is cool about it is, like, if you know a guy wants to run Z-spot, they get a inside release, or like the post, or a slant. Even on a slant, they get an inside release. Or if they're going to run a, where are they lined up? Are they going to try and get an outside release because they're lined up in tight in the slot? Like, what direction are they going, and are they likely to steer that way at the start? And then can you protect it by jamming that way? I think that match back and forth is going to be really fun to watch people play. And there's that chart for you. Cut out of press mechanic. Don't worry if you guess wrong and fail to avoid being pressed. When playing as a receiver, you'll find yourself in a press interaction. You can attempt to cut out of the press and get into your route using the right stick in any direction. Based on the leverage of the defender and the direction the receiver is trying to release, you'll see many different techniques and outcomes for the receiver trying to get open. Bam, the win-loss result of the interaction is based on the receiver's beat press and strength ratings. So another good ratings thing on the cut out of press mechanic. Route running and cut move mechanics. Alright, so once you're in your route stem and out of any interactions that may trigger, there's some important mechanics to note when finishing your route. The left stick will steer the receiver anywhere you want him to go, but when only using left stick, you can't make sharp cuts to gain separation. To make sharp cuts, you must hold down the RB/R1 button to lock in your current moving direction and then flick the right stick in one of 8 directions to make a sharp cut. This can be used as a combo as well to make double moves and fake out man coverage defenders. Left stick control will not be returned until you let go of that button. So you actually use the right stick along with RB/R1 to make those cuts. So real true route running, you want to run it out. You're not just kind of holding the left stick and then moving it to the right. You would probably hold left stick, then hold down RB, then use the right, and then take it over. Much sharper cuts, likely to get more separation. And then call for the ball. So lastly, we've improved our current call for ball mechanic to give a visual indicator to your quarterback that you're open. When you want the ball, simply press the A or X button, and your player indicator will light up to tell your quarterback in Mud Squads you're open. This will have a call for the ball animation. Boom, team play, but also available franchise MUT and online head-to-head. And you'll see the AI controlled players using the mechanics, again, based heavily on their assignment, on the play, and the relevant ratings. This new meta completely changes the way the passing game plays, and wide receiver DB mechanics are something you'll definitely want to get your game up on. All right. Whew. What a bog. A lot of meat. A lot of meat. I love it. It was a quick piece in the trailer. Was wide receiver DB, but there was really a lot that it covered, and that's really good stuff. Those two things were both on the field stuff, so those are buttons you push while on the field. This last one is game styles, and that's in the video there as well. So there's a lot that's new for Madden 18. Obviously, we talked about long shot before on here, but also you have gameplay. Okay, so 3 new game styles: arcade, simulation, and competitive. So arcade is what you would expect. Lots of, fast-paced, exciting style of play where high scores and spec catches are the norm. Limited penalties. What I like about this mode is the user-controlled player is like the reason you played Madden when you were younger. Is like you usered a guy who was nasty and you just dominated the game. You caught everything, you hit stuck people, you were crazy. And that's what arcade is all about. Now obviously that's not fun when you start playing your friends and then you're both super powerful. You want it to be more even, which we'll get to, but I like that about arcade, and that could be a fun thing to do. You want to just play a quick casual game, like Gibbs. You're not a competitive player, you just want to be casual. Alright, simulation is the authentic NFL experience. This is the game style that plays true to player and team ratings and NFL rules. This style includes all supported penalties, injuries, and other random outcomes you see on Sunday. The players on your roster and the schemes you employ will be critical to success when playing simulation. This is the game mode for players that are fans of football and want to play a game that's true to the form. Simulation is the default style for CFM. I will not ignite a war between simulation and competitive. I will not. Competitive is all about head-to-head competition and tournament play. Some people that watch this channel enjoy that stuff. This is where user stick skills are king. And certain outcomes will be heavily weighted based on game situations and ratings thresholds. Penalties are limited, which I like in competitive, because I don't want random stuff to factor in to be messing up. If I cause a penalty, sure. There are no injuries, and random outcomes are rare. Executing gameplay mechanics, perhaps like new target passing, and making the right reads dictate success when playing competitive. EA competitive gaming events and ranked online game modes will be set to this style by default. So this is the mode for the hardcore. Stick skills. Here's a few more things. So you can kick longer field goals on arcade. You won't throw as many picks. This, like I said, this is Gibbs' perfect mode. Field goals instead of touchdowns. Less interceptions. He's going to get more broken tackles if he ever decides to run the ball. And he can finally learn how to spec catch. And maybe even get a hit stick one time. This is the Gibbs mode, arcade. So simulation, we saw it this year. High-rated players, sometimes they don't always make all the plays. That can be frustrating for some folks, but that's what simulation football is. That doesn't mean you're always going to get, the perfect outcome, even if you get your guy in the right spot. Injuries and penalties are more tied to real world NFL statistics and data. And then, obviously, elite guys and how you set your team up is important, which there's a blend that competitive guys will want from there, but obviously they don't want like the random penalties and stuff like that. Pass inaccuracy system for simulation. And then fatigue and stamina. Boom. So competitive, going for an interception with a wide open defensive player who has a good catch rating leads to a significantly lower chance of them dropping the ball. That's good. You don't want to drop a pick when you got a guy standing there wide open on defense if he's a decent player, I mean, he's on defense for a reason. That's what I always say. But, you want to catch more of those. And if you're throwing bad picks and they're throwing bad picks, then you can both agree that it was equal. Clean pocket, very important. Will reduce the chance of an accurate pass as long as they have a good rating and based on the throw type, and that you're not using pass mechanics like a high pass. There's a lower chance of a drop catch when a receiver is considered wide open and has a good catch rating. Like, players don't want to drop wide open passes in competitive if they have a good player in that position. That's their thought. They don't mind if a receiver on the other team gets open against them and gets wide open. They say GG. But they don't want to feel like, I randomly dropped that one and it cost me big. And there's a decreased chance of offensive wins in multiplayer catch outcomes, such as throwing to a cover receiver. So if you throw in traffic, sounds like with spectacular catches, that type of thing, doesn't seem like you're going to have much success. So you want to find the open receiver. Only AI players with the big hitter trait can hit stick. That's huge. So yeah, not getting hit stuck by some random guys, and not fumbling unless it's a player that should cause you to fumble, or if the rare AI player that has it, or if it's probably a user hit stick. And that's cool. That game styles, I know they've talked a bit about it, but this gives you some actual kind of actionable details and things to start thinking about. And then ultimately, this gives devs the flexibility to tune each game style individually throughout the Madden cycle. And so that the sim guys can have their game, competitive guys can have their game. Obviously, there's some overlap. The casual folks with the arcade that want to lay up the scoreboard, the Gibbs of the world, they can have their game too. And that's cool. That's something that's never been able to happen before. There's always kind of had to been a give and take, and people have to agree. But now you can do you. You can swim in your fishbowl, as they say. All right. Easy way to tell, and I talked about this before, is in the top left corner of the screen during gameplay, it says sim, competitive, or arcade. Gibbs tried to load me into a sim game. I said, hey man, I'm a competitive guy. I promise. You got to make sure you got your settings right, and you got to listen to people that play the game and say, hey man, I played Madden. Yeah, it's way too easy to score touchdowns. Were you playing on arcade? Or I played Madden, it felt slow. Were you playing on simulation, and what difficulty were you? Like, how did you play? Because now there's a lot of ways to play. And so that's kind of an important question to ask. That's what I've said before. Each game style, plus, then you have the difficulties that factor in as well. So, that's a lot. Hit these guys up. Great guys. Go back and watch the trailer again. What else? I got nothing else for you. Except take that survey in the comments. We got the Ben Roethlisberger coming away for a giveaway. Let me know in the comments if you're going to be playing on arcade or sim or competitive. I would assume most of you guys are going to play competitive, but I definitely have some sim guys in the audience that play CFM with their buddies, and that's a cool thing to do as well. And I think you can change that as well. Just defaults there, I believe, is what I saw. But target passing, what routes can you not wait to try out with target passing? Like, are you going to try the deep ball first and see where you can throw it? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts on all this. This was a lot. I think initially, people really liked the trailer. It's exciting. But now you've got all these blogs to just go through and, write everything down. Do it. Do it. All right, guys. This is ZFarls. It's a long one. But until next time, don't forget, lock up, comment, survey in the description, and we'll talk soon.